Have you ever wondered what Jesus Christ did during his childhood, beyond the pages of the Bible? While the Gospels focus on his adult life, apocryphal texts and ancient traditions reveal a supernatural childhood full of impressive events and miracles. These accounts show us the promised boy not just as a young prodigy, but also as the greatest teacher humanity has ever known, offering a new perspective on his role and teachings from his early years. When we think of masters and leaders throughout history, few can rival the figure of Jesus Christ, who not only left an indelible mark on spirituality, but also stood out as the greatest teacher humanity has ever known. Jesus was not just a religious teacher. His lessons transcended cultures and epochs, providing guidance on morality and wisdom. From his supernatural childhood to his role as the savior of humanity, every aspect of his life offers a profound example of leadership and teaching. He used simple parables to explain complex concepts, demonstrating an unparalleled ability to connect with people in a direct and meaningful way. It's fascinating how Jesus transformed teaching into an art form. He didn't rely solely on rigid rules or complicated doctrines, but used stories and metaphors that touched people's hearts. His approach was engaging and accessible, making him an exceptional teacher. His parables, such as the prodigal son, are perfect examples of how he conveyed deep lessons through everyday situations. Considering the importance of learning through stories and analogies, this method can be applied to make any teaching more understandable and impactful. Furthermore, Jesus demonstrated that true teaching goes beyond merely conveying knowledge. He lived what he preached, being a model of integrity and compassion. Imagine the depth of impact that can be achieved by aligning our actions with our words, just as Jesus did. The true effectiveness of a teacher lies in how they embody their own teachings. If you've ever had a mentor who truly lived what they taught, you know how transformative and inspiring that can be. Jesus also had the remarkable ability to teach from a place of empathy. He understood people's struggles and difficulties and used that understanding to guide his lessons. For example, by interacting with the marginalized and sinners, he offered not just correction, but also hope and redemption. This shows us the importance of approaching teaching with sensitivity and compassion. If you are in a leadership or teaching role, consider how you might connect more deeply with those under your guidance, understanding their needs and offering real support. His approach to teaching also involved challenging and reflecting. Jesus frequently asked questions that encouraged people to think deeply about their own lives and beliefs. This provocative method, far from being a form of confrontation, was a way to stimulate introspection and personal growth. Think about how powerful questions can lead to deeper understanding and transformative insights, both in your life and in the lives of those you teach or guide. Jesus' influence as the greatest teacher extends beyond just religion or spirituality. His lessons have universal relevance. The impact of his teachings is evident in various areas of life, from ethics to social behavior. This universality is a testament to the depth and wisdom of his words. As you consider the applicability of his teachings in your own life, reflect on how the principles he taught can be integrated into your daily actions and interactions. The journey to follow in the footsteps of this great teacher is, in many ways, a journey to discover the depth of our own capacities. The childhood of Jesus is a fascinating mystery, a phase of his life about which little is known from the canonical biblical texts. While the New Testament primarily focuses on his public life and ministry, there is a world of stories and legends that fill in the gaps of his hidden childhood. These non-canonical accounts offer a unique insight into how the promised boy began to manifest his role as the savior of humanity from an early age. Apocryphal texts, or texts outside the canonical Bible, provide a tantalizing glimpse into this enigmatic period. Apocryphal texts, such as the Infancy Gospel of Thomas, reveal details about how Jesus was educated and how he interacted with those around him during his formative years. According to these accounts, the young Jesus demonstrated astonishing wisdom even before his public ministry. Imagine the impact that knowing a little boy was already so wise and influential could have on our understanding of his life and mission. These details add a layer of depth to the figure of Jesus, showing him not just as a teacher, but as someone with a childhood marked by extraordinary events. What's even more fascinating is how these apocryphal texts describe Jesus performing incredible feats even as a child. According to some accounts, He created birds out of clay that came to life, demonstrating his supernatural powers from a young age. These tales not only capture the imagination, but also prompt us to reflect on the nature and purpose of these gifts. If these events truly occurred, what does that tell us about the connection between the divine and the human from Jesus' childhood? The lack of biblical information about these early years doesn't mean they are less significant. On the contrary, the absence of details in the New Testament leaves room for speculation and further exploration in apocryphal texts that offer a more complete view. Considering these accounts can enrich our understanding of Jesus as a fully human being, with a life and experiences that shaped his mission as the Savior of humanity. This approach reminds us of the importance of exploring and questioning what is not clearly documented. One question that arises is, why is Jesus' childhood not widely discussed in the canonical scriptures? It is a question that leads to speculations about the purpose and relevance of these details to the central message of the Bible. Perhaps the authors of the New Testament had a specific focus, or maybe certain aspects of his life were considered less important to the main narrative. Reflecting on this can help us better understand how different aspects of Jesus' life connect and influence his role as the promised boy and Savior. Ultimately, the hidden childhood of Jesus is an invitation to explore more deeply the life and ministry of one of history's greatest teachers. The apocryphal accounts offer an intriguing panorama that challenges and broadens our view of Jesus. As we delve into these texts, we are reminded that a complete understanding of such impactful figures often goes beyond what is immediately available. So, what more might we discover about Jesus as we explore these untold stories? The answer may lead us to a new appreciation of his mission and teachings. The childhood of Jesus, according to many apocryphal texts, was marked not only by early wisdom but also by a series of supernatural events that impress and intrigue. From a young age, the promised boy demonstrated abilities that transcended the ordinary, performing miracles that defied human understanding. These apocryphal accounts offer us a glimpse of a Jesus who not only taught but also manifested divine powers. Imagine the impact of seeing a boy just a few years old creating birds from clay and performing other miracles on his family and community. Among the most fascinating stories is that of Jesus creating birds out of clay, which come to life when he blows on them. This act is not only an example of his supernatural ability, but also a symbol of his connection to creation and the divine. These accounts may lead us to reflect on the nature of miracles and what they represent in terms of faith and divinity. If we think about it, we can see how small acts of kindness and creativity in our own lives may reflect a part of the greatness these texts describe. Another impressive aspect of Jesus' supernatural childhood is his ability to heal and perform miracles that defy logic. These feats are not only extraordinary, but also a testament to his role as the Savior of humanity. Imagine what it would mean for a 5-year-old child to heal the sick or perform other wonders, and how this might impact people's view of his future role. These miracles, besides being remarkable events, also serve as a preparation for his adult ministry. The stories about Jesus' childhood reveal a pattern of behavior that suggests a divine purpose from an early age. The manifestation of these supernatural powers was not accidental but an indication of his greater mission. These accounts invite us to reflect on how extraordinary events in our own lives might be seen as signs or opportunities for growth. Perhaps we can learn to recognize and value the extraordinary moments and unique abilities each of us possesses, even on a smaller scale. The concept of a supernatural childhood also makes us think about the impact of upbringing and environment on a person's life. If Jesus demonstrated such abilities from an early age, what does this tell us about the influence of upbringing and education in our own lives? How we are shaped and the experiences we undergo can have a profound effect on our capabilities and our destiny. This perspective encourages us to consider how our own talents and gifts might be developed and used for a greater purpose. Ultimately, Jesus' supernatural childhood offers us a profound view of the connection between the divine and the human. These accounts not only broaden our understanding of Jesus as the Savior of humanity, but also challenge us to reflect on the presence of the supernatural in our own lives. As we explore these stories, we may ask ourselves, how can we recognize and integrate the extraordinary aspects that might be present in our own journey? The search for these answers could lead to a deeper appreciation of the mystery and wonder of life. Want to dive deeper into biblical themes like this? Check out our exclusive ebook in the comments. It offers a detailed analysis and spiritual reflections that complement this video. Don't miss out. Download your copy now. The Gospel of Thomas is one of the most intriguing apocryphal works that explores Jesus' childhood, offering a detailed account of the formative years of the promised child. This text, which is not part of the biblical canon, provides a unique glimpse into Jesus' formative years, covering the period from ages 5 to 12. In these writings, we see a Jesus who not only grew in wisdom and knowledge, but also manifested his divine nature in impressive ways. If you've ever wondered what happened during these crucial years not covered in the canonical Gospels, the Gospel of Thomas might offer fascinating answers. According to the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus was an extraordinary child whose actions and words challenged the common expectations of the time. Among the described stories, there are accounts of how he amazed his teachers and the wise men with his profound understanding and insight. These stories not only add a layer of depth to Jesus' figure, but also prompt us to reflect on the impact of early learning and wisdom in our own lives. If you've ever encountered a young person with remarkable knowledge, you might connect with the idea of a Jesus who possessed notable wisdom from childhood. The Gospel of Thomas is also a repository of teachings and sayings attributed to Jesus during his childhood. These teachings reveal a more personal and intimate perspective on his upbringing and the development of his mission. Reading these texts can provide a new understanding of the principles that guided Jesus' life and, in turn, offer insights on how we apply similar teachings in our daily lives. Reflecting on how principles and teachings can influence our personal journey is a way to connect more deeply with these stories. A notable aspect of the Gospel of Thomas is how it reveals Jesus' interactions with those around him. These interactions are not only evidence of his wisdom, but also of his humanity. The text shows us a Jesus who, despite his divine abilities, engaged with his community and challenged established norms. This approach invites us to think about how we can interact more meaningfully with the people around us, recognizing the importance of empathy and understanding in our own lives. The stories in the Gospel of Thomas frequently present Jesus in situations that demonstrate his role as the savior of humanity, even in his youth. These accounts help fill the gaps in the canonical Gospels, providing a more complete view of how Jesus prepared for his mission. As we explore these texts, we are reminded of the importance of understanding the different dimensions of influential figures' lives and how these aspects can contribute to a more holistic view of their contributions and legacies. Ultimately, the Gospel of Thomas offers a valuable opportunity to deepen our understanding of Jesus and his role as the greatest teacher of humanity. These accounts, which complement the traditional biblical narrative, allow us to explore a richer dimension of Jesus' life. As we consider how these texts can enrich our perspective, we are encouraged to seek a more complete and multifaceted understanding of the figures and events that have shaped history and spirituality. Discovering new details may lead to a deeper appreciation of what we know and what there is still to learn. The concept of Jesus as a wise child is a fascinating theme that appears in various apocryphal texts and traditions. From a young age, the promised child not only exhibited exceptional wisdom, but also demonstrated a profound knowledge that impressed everyone around him. According to these accounts, Jesus captivated teachers and scholars with his ability to understand and explain complex concepts. This phenomenon leads us to reflect on the importance of wisdom and knowledge in our own lives, and how these attributes can be developed and valued from a young age. The stories about Jesus as a wise child are full of examples that illustrate his depth and insight. One of the most notable is the description of how he answered scholars' questions and discussed profound topics with unusual maturity. This not only highlights Jesus' uniqueness, but also invites us to consider how education and intellectual curiosity can form the basis for great achievements. By reflecting on these aspects, we can seek ways to foster wisdom and knowledge in our own lives and in the lives of those around us. Another important aspect of the stories about Jesus as a wise child is how he performed miracles and demonstrated supernatural powers. These feats not only showed his mastery over the physical world, but also served as a way to teach important lessons to those nearby. These childhood miracles reflect the idea that wisdom is not just a matter of theoretical knowledge, but also of applying that knowledge in practical and meaningful ways. This can inspire us to find ways to apply our own talents and skills to make a difference in the lives of others. The portrayal of Jesus as a child who knew more than many adults around him raises questions about the nature of talent and wisdom. If a child can exhibit such qualities, what does that say about the potential we all have from a young age? This reflection leads us to consider how we can nurture and support the skills and knowledge in children and young people, helping them to develop their full potential. This approach can not only benefit individuals, but also contribute to a brighter and more informed future for everyone. The stories about Jesus' childhood wisdom also highlight the importance of humility and the ability to learn from others. Despite his knowledge and skills, Jesus continued to learn and interact with those around him in a respectful and open manner. This reminds us of the importance of maintaining an attitude of humility and openness to learning throughout our lives. By adopting this mindset, we can create a more collaborative and enriching environment where everyone has the opportunity to grow and develop. Ultimately, the image of Jesus as a wise and powerful child serves as a powerful reminder of the impact that wisdom and knowledge can have on our lives and the lives of others. These accounts inspire us to seek and apply knowledge in ways that benefit not only ourselves but also those around us. As we reflect on these stories, we are encouraged to explore the potential of the skills and talents we possess and to find ways to use them to contribute to a better world. When we speak of Jesus as the greatest teacher of humanity, we are referring to a title that transcends centuries of history and spiritual impact. Since ancient times, the Savior of humanity has taught lessons that resonate deeply in our hearts and minds. His teachings on love, compassion, and justice continue to shape the way we live and interact with others. The vision of Jesus as the promised child reveals a teacher whose influence extends beyond words, reflecting in actions and behaviors that endure through time. Jesus' wisdom was not limited to his words, but was also manifested in his acts and miracles. He used stories and parables to convey deep truths in an accessible manner, allowing people of all ages and backgrounds to understand and apply his lessons. Therefore, Jesus' teaching ability was not only in his eloquence, but also in his capacity to connect his lessons with everyday life. This can inspire us to seek ways to make teaching and communication more effective and impactful in our own lives. The impact of Jesus' teachings is evident in how they have shaped the morality and values of societies around the world. His lessons on forgiveness, humility, and love for one another not only challenged the norms of his time, but also set new standards for humanity. This enduring influence leads us to reflect on how our own values and actions can contribute to positive change in society. Practicing these principles can be a way to follow the example of the greatest teacher and make a difference in the world around us. Jesus' approach to teaching also involved inclusivity and welcoming everyone, regardless of social status or economic condition. He related to people from different backgrounds and showed genuine empathy, demonstrating that knowledge and wisdom are for everyone. This aspect of his ministry reminds us of the importance of creating inclusive and accessible learning environments where each person can feel valued and supported. By applying this principle, we can promote a culture of learning and growth that benefits everyone. The way Jesus challenged established conventions and encouraged critical thinking is one of the characteristics that distinguish him as an exceptional teacher. He was not afraid to question norms and seek truth beyond established traditions. This encourages us to adopt a more reflective and questioning approach in our own lives, seeking to understand issues deeply and find innovative solutions. The willingness to question and explore can open new possibilities and help us achieve a more comprehensive understanding of the world. In summary, Jesus as the greatest teacher is a figure who continues to inspire and guide millions around the world. His teachings and example transcend time and cultural boundaries, offering a solid foundation for ethical and spiritual living. As we reflect on the impact of his teachings and strive to emulate his qualities as a teacher, we are encouraged to adopt a more mindful and compassionate approach in our own interactions and teachings. The journey of learning and teaching is never complete, and Jesus' influence reminds us of the importance of continuing to seek wisdom and growth. Now that you've explored the hidden childhood of Jesus Christ, think about how these stories can inspire and transform your life. What lessons from the promised child's deeds can you apply in your daily life? For more fascinating discoveries and enriching content, Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Share your thoughts and continue this journey of learning with us.